Breaking down the Buffs, we've got Kevin Borba here. You can catch him on a daily basis at Locked On Buffs, also at Athlon Sports. Looking at the defense for Colorado with spring practice less than 2 weeks away. 6 edge rushers coming in through the transfer portal. I see Santana Hopper maybe the best addition inside. 4.5 sacks for him on a Tulane team that made the playoffs.
No, the defensive line is going to be brand new. They lost every single interior defense lineman either to the portal or to graduation. So they went really heavy on the interior defense line. They brought in Cedric Smith from Maryland. They brought in Dylan Manuel from App State. They brought in Santana Hopper, like you mentioned. And then Ezra Christensen is another exciting name along with Hopper, who Ezra Christensen could play all over the defensive line. He was one of the best graded defense linemen, according to PFF. I think it was number 8 overall in college football, and you could really play him anywhere. So although this defense line won't be filled with size, I think it's filled with guys who are hungry. It's filled with guys who are looking to prove themselves, because last year they took a flyer on Jaheim Otis from Alabama, who was a former blue chip recruit, was kind of the prototypical, like, looks the part, but doesn't play the part at all. And so I think they had too many of those guys. And so they're going after guys who are captains. They're going after guys who are proven, all group of 5 talents. And like you said, they have some really good guys. And so it'll be interesting to see how they sort of mask their lack of size with their the talent that they brought in.
Kevin, these 2 linebacker additions are pretty impressive because you got Leona Lafau, who obviously played for one of the better defenses in the country at Texas and racked up over 60 tackles the last 2 seasons. And then you rarely come across stats at 119 total tackles, 17.5 tackles for loss from Gideon Lampron at Bowling Green.
Yeah, Leona Lafau was, I would say, the biggest surprise of the portal class, and maybe even in college football, really. I know a lot of Texas people were pretty shocked when he entered his name into the portal because he had started, it was nearly like 30 games in a row for Texas, and they really loved him there. And it was just one of those things where they got a new defense coordinator, and then this is what I was told. They got a new defense coordinator. The defense was changing a little bit, and he just wanted a chance to prove he could be an all-down, every-down type of guy. And so I think he's going to be one of the better linebackers in the Big 12. And then Gideon Lampron, whose middle name, by the way, is ESPN, literally like ESPN, the show, yes. The craziest thing. Him and Tyler Martinez from New Mexico State are both proven leaders. They're both green sticker guys, which means they called the plays for their team, or at least Tyler Martinez did. But Gideon was a leader on his team as well. And the linebackers for Colorado last year were atrocious. They had 4 of them, and I would say 2 of them were actually playable. So it's not really a position you wanted to be in. And I think this year's guys will help them improve in the run defense, which was one of the worst in the country last year.
So I guess Colorado fans are hoping that Lampron is the worldwide leader in something, maybe tackles or tackles for loss.
Not missed tackles.
Yes. All right. Cornerback Preston Hodge is back to lead that group.
Corners, I think Preston is out of eligibility. They're going to have a brand new secondary. I'm sorry about that one. They lost DJ McKinney to Notre Dame. He was a pretty big disappointment just because he was supposed to be like the next Travis Hunter. He was supposed to be that cornerback 1, and penalties, big plays given up, just wasn't what Colorado hoped for. He was a projected first-round pick at the beginning of the year, and all of a sudden he was just sort of a liability, quite frankly, and he ended up missing the last few games because of an injury. All of a sudden he ended up in the portal after that as well, so I think we could put 2 and 2 together there. But they brought in Justin Eaglin from James Madison, who's a starter on the playoff team. He picked off Dante Moore in James Madison's playoff game. They brought in Cree Thomas from Notre Dame, who's a former 4-star recruit with some nice size at 6'2" almost. They brought in a lot of talented guys from the FCS and Group of 5 level, and that's sort of consistent throughout all positions. And they wanted guys who were hungry. They wanted guys, like I said earlier, who were captains or proven. And so the secondary is going to look brand new because they also lost Tafik Byard, who is was starting safety for them last year. He's at Texas A&M. They lost pretty much everybody within that top 10 that I could see on the list, right? Jeremiah Brown's out of eligibility. Reggie Hughes is gone. Preston Hodge is gone. Arden Walker to the NFL. Keaton Wade's gone. Carter Stottmeyer transferred. Sean Myers transferred. Martavius French. Ben Finiseth is the first name that is coming back. So Ben Finiseth is a former walk-on turned starter for Colorado. So corners are going to look a lot different, and I think they'll be better for it, quite frankly.
Boo Carter is a guy that I'm familiar with his
Yes.
play from his days at Tennessee, 22 games, 63 tackles. So he's an addition to the defensive backfield at safety.
Yeah, Boo Carter is Colorado. Brendan Marion's hoping to use him at wide receiver, running back too. So we'll see if he's Colorado's next Travis Hunter. But he is an all SEC caliber player. Everything that's been explained to me by Boo Carter is everything he does on the field is right. It's when he is off the field where issues begin to arise. And if he could just focus on football and not be distracted by other things, then he will be fine. Right. And I think Tennessee fans were sort of left with a sour taste in their mouths because of Boo Carter. I think he sort of, in their eyes, quit on the team. And I guess that's what you could call it when he just stopped showing up to stuff. But you just have to really hope that he could put everything together because he's a great football player. And I think he has the potential to be a great young man as well. I just think he needs some proper guidance. And I don't know if Tennessee was always willing to provide him that guidance to the extent that he needed it.
It's usually difficult to try to set up these special teams at this point in the off season because a lot of that gets sorted out in regards to special teamers playing roles on as backups on the regular defense or offense, and then being guys that that gets sorted out in August in regards to who's going to return punts and kickoffs and all of that. But in regards to anything you've got there, certainly we'll take it. But punter and place kicker, are those guys back?
They have a new place kicker. Alejandro Mata, who came over from Jackson State with Coach Prime, is now off to pursue an NFL career. Damon Greaves, who Coach Prime calls mate because he's from Australia, he's going to be back. He's one of the better punters, really good at placing the ball. Colorado is going to have I think it's like a 3 to 4 man kicking battle, if you will. They brought in, his name is slipping my mind, Josh McCormick from Grambling State. And then they have another kicker who was a former 5-star recruit in terms of J.J. Cole's specialist rankings. So he's in the mix as well. So they're going to be, I think, 3 kickers vying for that starting spot. And they're pretty set at punter. In terms of returners, Boo Carter, who we talked about a few minutes ago, he's really good as a punt returner. He was all conference in that regard. So they have a lot of weapons on special teams. It's just a matter of finding the right combo.